Venus is a planet that brings peace, harmony, fun, romance, pleasure, and play. And this woman is moving her ass into the sign of Gemini, where she is extremely sociable, flirty, but could also perhaps bring us a bit of world peace because Gemini is the twins or the brothers or the neighbors. And we know a few countries in the world where neighbors and brothers are deeply entrenched in war. So we're looking for Venus's ingress or movement into the sign of Gemini on May the 23rd, where she will be traveling until June the 16th to perhaps bring us not just a little more play, fun, and pleasure in each of our lives, depending on our rising sign, of course, but also hopefully some kind of amelioration of situations in the world where conflict is raging. I'll be drawing your attention to how this works for you personally based on your rising sign, but of course, you can listen for your sun sign as well and also your moon sign. Your sun sign can be about your purpose or career matters, and your moon sign about your home and body. And your rising sign is, of course, all about you. If you don't know your rising sign and you'd like to learn how to find it, there's a free tutorial in my description box below. And the link is called something like How to Cast Your Chart in Whole Sign Houses. And it also teaches you how to find your rising sign. So welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Lori Lothian, and I am using the Western Tropical Zodiac and the whole sign house system. Fixed stars and minor asteroids are a part of my passion. I talk about them a lot. And in today's video, we'll also be bringing in asteroid Nessus and the asteroid America to the storyline at hand. One thing I think about when I see Venus going anywhere is she doing anything important? And she sure darn is, because in the sign of Gemini, she will come into the heart of the sun, which she does every 4 years. And this is called her star point or her Cazimi with the sun. And this is a big deal. This is happening on June the 4th. Now, I'm not going to dive into that particular event because I'll be doing a special long video on that full of deep dive information on how to use this Venus coming into a reset button in your Gemini sky. And it can be very powerful. The way she resets herself here lends itself to not only about 9.5 months of good things in the Gemini real estate of each of our charts. That's a whole sign house, but also for the world at large. And so I'll be doing a separate video with my colleague Adam Ellenbus of Nightlight Astrology, and that should be out somewhere in around, I think we're scheduled to record it on the 21st of May. You'll probably be seeing it on the 23rd of May, so look forward to that. We'll be bringing in a lot of depth to that investigation of that particular special event. Now, let's get talking about the big, broad picture in the next hour or so for your sign, and a short little bit of time, I promise you, maybe about maximum 10 minutes on world astrology, or also called mundane astrology. What I've learned here on YouTube is that when I do too much of the mundane astrology up front and not enough of you guys in the back end, the algorithm doesn't like that. So I'm going to try to make sure I do a balance here, but understand that seeing the world through the lens of astrology, which is called mundane astrology, and understanding the cycles of life and the world events that are attached to these cycles can help us understand the chaos and craziness in our lives and in the world at large. And I really like to try to investigate this kind of content for predictive value, for sure, but also for deeper understanding. So we're going to talk today a little bit, but not too long, about how Venus might create some brokers of peace in places of war, because when you look at Gemini, it's a human sign. Gemini is the twins, Castor and Pollux. It is the immortal and mortal twin, and it is the sign of brothers, and it is also the sign of neighbors, and it is also the sign of people who can also in their own lives have two sides to them, Jekyll and Hyde, right? If anyone's known as just a basic Gemini, everything is not what it seems. Like they're so sociable and outgoing, but there's another side to who they are. And they can be fickle and they can be two-faced. Now, I'm not slamming Gemini, just trust me, but it is a quality of the nature of the sign, which is an air sign, just so you know. Gemini is air, and air is about sociability and ideas and conversation and communication. And when Venus moves into Gemini, she's down for that. She's like, communication, yes. Conversation, for sure. And if you're a Venus Gemini person, okay, let me just talk about this for a second. Maybe my video guy can drive this home as a clip. Okay. Venus and Gemini natally are people who really love to find love in conversation Foreplay is a really good talk, but it's also about being playful, having fun, being social with the one you love. And most people who are Venus and Gemini are a little bit oriented, believe it or not, to a bisexual orientation or more fluidity around the way they love. Every Venus and Gemini that I've ever met is somebody that if you go out with them, if you're dating them, they're going to offer you a good time. But it also has to do with playful engagement in conversation, laughter, fun, and comedy. So I have been in relationships with people who have Venus in Gemini. So I'm telling you guys personally, they are a whole lot of fun until they're not. Jekyll Hyde. So keep that in mind. Now, I didn't put this for that little blurb because maybe my guy can drive it home late, separate from what I'm about to tell you. But I'm going to say the Venus and Gemini people too, they can be very fickle-fingered in love, and they can change their mind. They love you and you're the best things in sliced bread. And then they suddenly have a turning of their opinion of you. And all of a sudden you're not the best things in sliced bread. If you guys ever been in a relationship with a Gemini period or a Gemini and Venus person, let me know. All right. So that all aside, I do feel like with Venus moving into the sign of Gemini, we're likely to experience an attempt for peace. And I'm going to break this down for you a bit. The major things that Venus is doing on the 23rd of May to June 16th are the three following areas, okay? One, she's going to sextile Juno, the goddess of agreements, commitments, including business and love. And she will do that on May 30th and 31st. Certainly, that can literally look like with Juno in Virgo, right? The details, some kind of details being hammered out in love and peace relationships, but it's positive. It's a sextile. I want to remind us that Venus is invisible. She's going into the heart of the sun to die again on June the 4th. And it makes me concerned that even though she's protected in her chariot by being in her home sign and therefore not super debilitated in her proximity to the rays of the sun, she is still invisible to our eyes. And on the 30th and 31st of May, she's going to burn up in the sun's heart. Therefore, it is possible that any attempts for peace and deals or deep committed arrangements in love and business in our own lives could be frail because she's coming into a death experience and she's an old Venus. What kind of old Venus is she? She's an old Venus morning star. Each of us is born with Venus in the morning or the evening visibility or invisible under the beams of the sun, three states of being. When she is a morning star, she's known in the ancient traditions to be absolutely more like a warrior. This is where she brings war. And she indeed, on August the 13th of 2023, went into the heart of the sun from a retrograde in Leo and was born again as the morning star, the warrior star, from her demure, more soft-edged evening star iteration. So therefore, we did see after August 13th, by October 7th, the raging of a brand new war. Venus is the ruler of the sign of Libra, and the nation of Israel is a Libra rising, and therefore this is that war that we're seeing now. So as she comes into the heart of the sun, she's still dying out as a very old warrior Venus, but she will go into the heart of the sun on June the 4th, and then become more visible as she gets away from the sun in the evening sky as a bright diamond, but very slowly, depends on where you live. Most places she becomes visible sometime in the month of July. And when she does become visible in July, then we may see visible signs of peace. That's that simple. However, before then, I'm doubtful, especially before June 4th, when she's dying in the heart of the sun. And so any forging of the May 30th, 31st, treaties of peace, Juno, agreements and contracts and commitments, Venus, may be fragile and unreliable and not likely to last. So on June the 4th, there's that star point that happens to also be flowing to the south node in the sign of Libra. So therefore flowing to the ascendant of Israel and flowing or sextiling the north node in the sign of Aries, the open enemies of Israel. There can be some flow or some resolution. Israel would call its open enemies Hamas or maybe Iran or Hezbollah, but there is going to be some flow. And so it looks kind of as if, as she bakes up and then burns up in the heart of the sun, getting divine mission instructions for a new reset. It's not just about what happens on June the 4th. It's in fact a story of like she's pregnant with possibility until the next Venus star point in the spring, which I believe is in March, in the sign of Aries. So between June the 4th and next spring, or roughly 9.5 months, she's giving birth to the potential for peace in the Middle East. Well, she does this flow to the north and south node. She is also in a trine to the asteroid America in the early degrees of Capricorn. She's also trine the planet the asteroid Ops for opportunity, but also happy endings after times of great difficulty. And this is also important to understand that she's sitting with Lord Jupiter, the Lord of divine justice, wisdom, and putting chaos into order. So there is that oversight of Jupiter sitting with her as she's birthing herself anew. And indeed, Mercury, the real estate owner of the land of Gemini, is sitting there as well. So she's got a team spirit about this rebirth. Gemini, the Lord of the domicile, the Lord of the Gemini zone is there, and Jupiter, a greater benefic. It's a very positive star point. Can't wait to talk about this in the deeper dive video. Finally, the last thing I want to draw my attention I'll be showing you the sky in a minute, but just giving an overview, is that the square to Saturn looks hard, and that's around June the 16th. And that could be where some potential for positive peace that seems to be emerging May 30th to 31st. By the time we get to June 8th, things may fall apart. Now, don't feel disheartened, because I feel this is something that she's promising to deliver by next March. Okay. And if you looked at the birth chart of Israel for its solar return, things look pretty gnarly in the next few months for the nation of Israel, especially as it comes it connects to other people's money that it needs to use, including funding from places like the United States or England or Germany for money or weapons. That's really, really erratic in the birth chart of Israel, but I'll do a separate video on that. Now, let me go ahead and bring up the sky before we get to the all signs. Certainly, each of us will have a different experience of how Venus operates in Gemini, because it will depend on the position of your natal sun, your natal moon, or your rising sign relative to the Gemini sky. So we'll be talking about how this impacts each sign. Just for the record, if you are a Gemini sun, moon, rising, of course it's going to be very important to you, especially the star point. But angular signs that are also involved in this are Pisces and Virgo. You're feeling it strongly, and Sagittarius. Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Gemini are all mutable signs. Mutable means adaptable, changeable, fluid, and flexible. And this is one feature about when Venus is in Gemini. She can move with the current, so to speak, but change her mind. And so when we get peace treaties being forged, people can likely suddenly change their mind, fickle, right, about the agreements. And I'm unfortunately seeing that as a strong possibility. Even with Jupiter in co-presence supporting the story, he's also in a sign of his detriment. So it's kind of like a feeble peace, let's call it that. Here's Jupiter, here's Venus. Venus is moving in. Oh, let me get rid of all the junk in the trunk. My apologies. I just finished a client reading, so there's a lot of mess in the sky. Let's remove the mess. Okay. And here we have it. I'm recording this, by the way, on May the 12th for my Patreon community, who gets this content early access and ad-free, in this case, very early, because I'm traveling the El Camino and I don't want to be doing recordings on the journey in June. So you guys are getting this content preloaded. As I record on May the 12th, I have no idea like what will happen like in the future in June. Maybe I'm recording so much ahead of the curve, right? I'm recording on May 12th. For content that begins May 23rd. So who knows, maybe by the time this is out, I'll have stale dated the content, but I doubt that we're seeing a foreseeable lasting peace anytime until at least after June the 4th. So I am preoccupied, as you all know, on the story of the Middle East. I haven't forgotten that there's a problem in Ukraine. And I plan to be addressing that with a look at Putin's chart and the chart of Ukraine and the chart of Russia yet again. Okay. But because I'm looking at the Libra content here and a Venus content for a Venus ruled nation, which is indeed Israel. This is why I'm focused on this today. Now, I promise you I'm not doing too much front end, mundane astrology. Cross my heart. Let's talk about the sky by giving you a visual. I think what I'm going to do to make it simple, just everyone bear with me, please. I'm just going to pin it to 0 Aries so that when I move the chart, we're not getting dizzy. All right. Now, what I'm going to draw your attention to is Venus is at 0 degrees of Gemini on May the 23rd. And as she begins to move through this sign of Gemini, and there's the sun, it is indeed Gemini season for 3 days beforehand. She's going to be aiming for coming into the heart of the sun, and that's going to happen on June the 14th. No, June the 4th at 14 degrees of Gemini. I'll do a whole video on that. Watch as Pluto follows her in. Right? Watch this. There's Pluto. Now she's with Pluto and the sun and this. So now I told you, watch out, May 30th to 31st. So keep your eye on the ball and I'll show you what I'm seeing. I don't know if I'm going to keep the moon in there. It's always distracting the F out of me, but watch what happens on May the 30th. So here we have Juno for agreements. Venus is at 7 degrees, engaging Juno as early as May 29th. Mercury still hasn't caught up. And he's Dominion Lord or owner of the Gemini real estate. And as we move forward to like the 31st, she's now really deeply engaging Juno. Yet Mercury, who rules the sign of Gemini, is not participating, is offside and in an aversion. I doubt that whatever is trying to happen here that could look like an attempt at brokering some Middle East peace will be a failure or not a lasting solution. And part of the issue here too, if you know your astrology, is to look at the houses in which this plays out from the perspective of the United States of America. The reason is because the United States is highly involved in this Middle East situation, as you might guess. The Gemini part of the chart where the deals have to be cobbled out is the open enemies of the nation of the United States as a Sag rising, right? That's the axis, 7th house from the Sag rising. Also, Biden's open enemies. He's a Sag rising. Also, Netanyahu's open enemies. He's a Sag rising. Everyone's open enemies is where the peace is trying to happen. Okay, so the United States would call their open enemies Iran, Russia, and China. And as we see this trying to work out, Mercury is like, I can't help. I'm not here. Sorry, I'm your deal maker. I'm your fine print. I'm the details. I'm the conversing of diplomats. I'm the peace man in terms of negotiations. So I don't think anything can happen until we watch him pop over the fence here on June the 3rd. Venus is heading now into the heart of the sun. She's exact on the 3rd and 4th, depends on your time zone. And the story here is very simple. What is it that Venus is trying to do that Mercury can help her with when it comes to the word peace? Have you noticed that Mercury is flowing to power Pluto in Aquarius, co-join the asteroid America, that Venus is flowing to asteroid America? Okay, and the star for war, Altair, and success in war is where Pluto is sitting. He is retrograding over a star connected to war and military prowess and success, the eye of the eagle, Aquila, and that is, of course, a symbol of the United States. The eagle is a symbol of US. Now, what she also does, and I already mentioned, is she flows to the south node, this is what but there was an eclipse in October connected to the war in the Middle East, as well as the Mars square Pluto on October the 9th, coming from a Libra part of the sky to Pluto in Capricorn. When Pluto comes back into the 29th degree of Capricorn, which is going to happen in September, it's going to reignite the part of the sky where the Hamas invasion happened and the beginning of this war. So keep that in mind. It's a longer story than tomorrow. Really, it is. But I would say that you can see at least now some conversations may happen that can lead to some peaceful solutions with countries that have an ascendant in Libra. In this case, it is Israel. And there's Israel's open enemies, very strong, with Mars in the sign of Aries. Therefore, there is a premium on intense inflationary energy. Mars is powerful here. Mars will co-join the North Node, and I talked about that in other videos, but I will bring it back up for your observation. This is a daunting moment in time. Mars co-joins the North Node in Aries on May the 18th. Duck. I have video content coming out about this, or it's in the past rearview mirror from your perspective, but that can be a real hot spot and a difficulty in the Middle East war situation. And then now we want to go back to the 4th when Venus 3rd, 4th is star pointing. And it is going to be a time of maybe after some intensity around May the 18th. And I'm only recording on the 12th, so I do not know what's going to happen yet. We can see some attempts at resolution here. Now, on a very practical note, before we do your sign, it seems obvious to me that what Israel's trying to do is push to get Palestinian people out of Gaza. And of course, the bombardment of Rafah, should that occur, and that, Biden has said, no, you can't, it's a pink line. That would mean that the infrastructure will be destroyed. The last hospitals, the last buildings that are habitable, because there are no buildings left anywhere north of Gaza, right? The day I'm recording now, there's reporting of carpet bombing it's either Khan Yunis or Deir al-Balah, somewhere else. Another one of the refugee camps are being decimated and bombed to smithereens as of May the 12th. When there's no infrastructure, there's no hospitals, there's no universities, there's no mosques, there's no churches, there's no habitable, safe buildings to live in. It doesn't matter if this war is over. And the last place the Palestinian people can congregate, even though there's not enough housing or infrastructure, is Rafah. And should that be pulverized to a parking lot, which is likely to happen, then the only solution is for the Palestinian people to leave the Gaza Strip. So you tell me what you think that's going to look like, and where are they going to go? Is it the West Bank? Probably not. Judea and Samaria, Golan Heights, maybe. All I can tell you is that this is a war with an aim that has absolutely nothing to do with catching like the last 4 battalions of Hamas or getting the hostages back. It insults the intelligence of me or anybody to say anything otherwise. And let me just be clear, Israel overtly stated, not only October 7th, but in a paper that was leaked from intelligence to, I think it was Haaretz, but it doesn't really mention that the plan was to push the Palestinians into Rafah and then out of Rafah out of Gaza, push them down to Rafah and then get them out of Gaza to turn Gaza into a parking lot. All right, that's what they said they were going to do. They did what they said they were going to do. So the reason I'm bringing this up for the astrology is simply this. It could be around the 18th of May that the most catastrophic part of this war is going to occur 3 days before and 3 days after. It's in your rearview mirror by the time you hear this, but I'm telling you from the May 12th point of view, this is what I think will happen. Now we're trying for fickle-fingered peace. This looks hopeful at first. This looks like maybe around June the 4th. There can be some hopefulness going on, but watch what Venus is going to do next. She's going to square Saturn and Nessus. Now, Nessus is an asteroid of revenge, a centaur who is taking revenge on Hercules. It's a very dark story of brutality and betrayal. And this story is sitting with Saturn in the house of water and water hardships with Neptune, the sea god. Well, we have the Red Sea, we have the Mediterranean, we have the floating dock the Pentagon's trying to create, which I really think is just an what do you call it? Like I don't know what it is. I think the Pentagon's building a route for the Gazans to depart to the Strip myself. But this square Saturn at 18 degrees of Pisces will be engaging Venus as Venus moves forward. And even if she's trying her best to create peace, 18, 19, right? Well, look what's going on here. 20, 19. So we're here. This is not good. This is hard energy. This is uneasy, uncomfortable energy, particularly her square to Nessus. Revenge and betrayal stories are here. This is June the 7th. We were hoping for something good. We still have Mercury trying to do a negotiation, Jupiter trying to bring cosmic order and wisdom, but he's in debility. And I think things could fall apart here. Basically, if there was any nascent hope, things could become untenable or unrealistic. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems that could be the story. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. So there you go. Now, in our own lives, we're not having war, right? In our own lives, we're having something different happen. Did I add the asteroid ops? No, I'm going to write put the asteroid ops in here. I apologize. Happy endings after time of great challenge is what the asteroid ops can mean. The wife of Saturn. She can also be about thrival and growing and a green thumb and a bunch of other wife of Saturn ops meanings. Often she means opportunity in a real person's chart. Like I'm doing a client reading and I go, there's a place where you see opportunity. So there's ops. So America, asteroid ops are sitting here trying to work with this Venus who's in that sign of warring, sign of neighbors, sign of brothers, maybe at war when things are still trying to work out here. But this square to Saturn is daunting. When Mars moves into Taurus, and I have a Mars Taurus video, please listen to it starting on June the 9th. We are going June the 8th, 9th, depending on where you live, of course. You're going to see Mars's instability. And if he's going to try to bring any kind of noble solutions to war, he's paying no attention to the treaty worlds and the conversations that are trying to happen here. He's completely oblivious at much of this time to what they're trying to cobble together verbally or in written ways or negotiations. Venus is still invisible until early July. All said and done, it's not likely to have a sustainable peace solution in the Middle East while she's invisible, where she is compromised with a square to Saturn and Nessus. And I think we'll see nothing happen of any significant positivity until July. All right. That's my take on the world events. Let's do your sign. Now, I'm saying your sign is a lot happier, guys. I mean, Venus is in the sign of fun and flirty and sociable and conversational energies, but in your own sky, this part of your chart where she goes through the sky here every year, once a year, she's also in a place where she's in neutral dignity. She's not strong. She's not weak. She's just there. And she can bring some good things to your sky in this part of your whole sign house system. So before we start with the Aries sun, moon, and rising, don't forget, if you are new to my channel, hit that like button and subscribe. Some of you were disappointed that I didn't teach the Sky Reader course as planned in April, May. That's because I've been getting ready to go to the Camino and travel Portugal, and I did not know, and Spain, that I'd be planning that trip. So I've moved the course that I'm teaching, fifth time teaching Sky Reader, to September. Early access, early bird notice with discounts is available if you get on the wait list for that course. I'll open the enrollment, tuition, and early bird storylines in the month of August. It's way ahead of the curve, but you might want to get onto that class. I don't know how many times more I'll teach it. I do enjoy it. I'm moving into writing 2 books, Deep Code Astrology, The Wine Lover's Middle Way, and a fiction book. And so I want to get back to my writing. And for me to do that, I have to give something up. It might be teaching the courses. Who knows? So check it out. Now we're going to go back and do the all signs. I just needed a commercial break. All right, so let's get started. Aries, sun and moon and rising. And I have a sun moon, so I totally relate. What is going on is Venus is in her 3rd house storyline, traveling here in this part of the sky for the time of May the 23rd to June the 16th. It's going to feel like you are having more fun because our 3rd house environment tends to be our daily life, the fishbowl in which we swim, the people we see, our neighbors and neighborhood, local stores and shops, but it's also a travel house. And many of you, like me on the El Camino, could also be having a great deal of sociability. I'm traveling with a group of women on the Camino between the 23rd of May and June 16th. Indeed, that's exactly when I'm on the Camino, really, or on the way and on the Camino. So some of us, Aries, sun and moon and rising, maybe just be having a lot of fun. It's so great. And Jupiter brings opportunity, growth, expansion from the fun we're having. Prosperity, faith, hope, optimism, and goodness come from sociability and fun. For Venus and Jupiter to travel together in this part of the sky, it only happens every 12 years. That's what's so special about it. That's what's so wonderful about it. And for you to understand that this has got its extra special edge. Also, with Venus down here, she is attended by Lord Mercury. The 2 of them have been traveling very close together lately. And so again, it doubles down on the quality of the fun. If you want to enroll in a course, if you want to teach a short skills-based learning course, if you want to plan or take a trip, if you want to travel in connection to siblings or childhood friendships, these are all very auspicious. This can bring some blessings to your sibling, one under you, where they have positive things happening in their life. May the 23rd to June the 16th. The third house is a house of siblings in general, but the sibling one younger to you in particular. If you have writing projects and you're a writer or you do online virtual social media things, glow up, blow up in your social media, websites, presence, virtual neighborhoods expand as well, but also a positive impact on writing projects. And any writing projects can be blessed here, especially with Jupiter, with superior outcomes from the things that you are communicating and writing in this world. Finally, because Venus does flow to Juno early on, May 30th to 31st, you may be able to make some agreements and some contracts regarding business matters and work matters in the beginning of that transit. And of course, you'll flow to the nodes of fate. And in a general feeling, this is a supportive time regarding matters to do with your own identity, your own health, and significant business partner love relationships. Love relationships and business partner relationships get a divine blow up from Venus here. And we also would point out there is a hard ass square to Saturn. I'll be covering that in my weekly videos for all signs. So I'm not going to cover that challenging point around June the 8th right now. I will cover that much later along with the square to Neptune on June 16th. So you definitely want to subscribe to get the weekly blow by blow every single Monday when I put out my all signs weekly videos. All right. So like, subscribe, hit the bell for notification. Thank you to my regulars who are likely here watching. And because I'm probably walking the El Camino, I'll miss this in the real time thing with you guys. Okay. Okay. So let's get going back to the chart and let's move into the sign of Taurus, and we'll continue with our journey. Now, you do guys know that Venus rules two signs in the real estate of your astrology. She's the owner of the Taurus sky, and she's the owner of the Libra sky. So for you Tauruses, this is extremely important. You're probably wondering what just happened. I moved the chart. Let's go ahead and do Taurus properly to the hours. Right? Right. Don't get dizzy. Taurus, you're coming right up here. There we go. So as a Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign, you have the movement of Venus from the 23rd of May to June the 16th through Gemini. And this is a very special version of it because you have Lord Jupiter here, and he hasn't been here for 12 years. So it's got a special vibe. It's a little bit better than it usually is. And as she moves to your second house, it's good for your prosperity, Tauruses. If you need a job with the ideal salary, you want to make more money, you want to save more money, you want to possess something, you want to buy a car, you want to buy anything, possess a house even, especially with the sun here, ruler of real estate in your chart, this is an ideal time. You can possess something of value, Venus, and in a lucky, easy, prosperous way, Jupiter. Also, it's a feel-good vibe about your face. You might feel better about your appearance, your teeth, your smile, your jaw. You just might look better or feel better about how you look. And it's not a bad transit for cosmetic procedures. Proceed with caution. I don't like Jupiter's inflationary effect. You might go for a lip injection and your whole lip blows up and you look like a balloon. So be careful. Okay, because Jupiter's out of dignity and he blows things up. But in general, it's quite positive for feeling better about your facial appearance or having a glow up to your facial appearance. Your speech is very commanding, eloquent, and people like what you have to say because speech is this part of the chart. Now, it can be extremely positive for your finances just because as Venus moves through here, she flows to Pluto in your 10th house. And that can indicate an increase of your worth, your value, your self-worth when it comes to your reputation or the money you can command, the resources you can command in a professional setting. Indeed, she does flow to the South-North node, and the South node isn't a money and earnings kind of work environment place. A fated increase of positive proportions in your financial wellness can occur between May 23rd and June the 16th. It is not a bad idea with this to apply for your favorite type of job or work situation, and you may get what you want. When Venus is moving through this part of your chart as well on the regular, she does love her possessions, her luxury possessions. So you might find yourself wanting to possess or purchase or buy or sell something. Mercury here lets you buy or sell things and have great success during this transit. There is going to be that lovely flow or no, I would say flow. Did I say trine earlier? Anyway, my brain's offline. That conversation with Juno, where you might find did I say sextile in my earlier part of my video? If I did, my brain is broken. Squaring Juno. So, but there's some potential for conversations regarding obligations and contracts or agreements regarding your romantic partner or your children. And those conversations may be ongoing on the 30th to the 31st of the merry month of May. And I need to edit the beginning of my video. Darn it, I don't have time. I'll just have to let the blooper sit. So I think I said sextile instead of square. But a conversation with Juno about agreements can be ongoing because this is a speech house. You may be making a new agreement with one of your children, with a romantic partner. That kind of story is happening around May 30th and 31st. There's a quality here, lastly, that you're going to encounter some bumps in the road around June the 8th and later June 16th with a square to both Saturn and Neptune in the house of extended friendships. Now, it's got a little hard edge there with the Nessus asteroid, and I don't want to talk about that today because that will be my weekly video, but just know, watch out for some bumpy roads in terms of money disagreements with an elder sibling or some crisis moments with a friendship, a larger group of belonging type friendship coming through on June the 8th and 16th. Maybe some really difficult conversations can be happening at this time that may be based on a feeling of betrayal or revenge. That's awfully intense, I know. Ultimately, life is made up of good and bad, happy and sad. And so sometimes difficult things will happen in our life. All right, Gemini, this is a good story for you because you're the Lord of your sign, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, is in the storyline sitting with Venus in the house of you. This gives it an all over for Gemini's super powerful vibe. Only 12 years ago did you have Jupiter here, kind of making things larger than life, extra benefic. And now you've got your Lord Mercury here, Venus star pointing here. Stay tuned for that video. And the vibe of her transit, May 23rd to June 16th, is overall extremely positive. You may love yourself more. You may feel good about being you. If it's your sun, you feel good about being in your career. Your moon, your home and body matters. And your rising sign, just everything about you at the helm of your life. And this feels to me like you might be making some decisions or having some new ideas that feel quite larger than life or very about prosperity or abundance or faith and hope coming to you, right? Jupiter and Mercury can be ideas or things that are coming to your mind. And Venus is also saying, well, let's make them blessed and positive. And so you're very busy in your mind during this transit as well, thanks to the co-presence of Mercury through much of it. The energy here can also open you up to a new relationship, if that's something you're looking for in love, only because Venus is crossing your ascendant. This is especially true for the Gemini rising, and she's strumming the guitar string of your descendant axis, like ascendant descendant axis, which is like the relationship of self and other. And this happens once a year. But with Jupiter here as well, this can bring in a marriage partner. And with her flow to the node, south node in the fifth house, it brings up karmic relationship contracts that are about commitment and love. You also have some flow during this transit to the north node in the 11th house that expands your social groups, your social belonging, your networks of belonging. And if you are a creative artist or entrepreneur, all of that part of your chart, which is fifth house, gets its own special glow up. And lastly, if you are of childbearing age and you are a man or a woman, it does not matter. This can be a very destined karmic transit around pregnancy and conception. Your partner getting pregnant if she's the woman, or you if you are a female. So looking for that for younger Gemini rising especially, and maybe Gemini moon as well, prone to pregnancy here or conception here. Venus is the ruler of the sperm and the ovum. Jupiter is the god of children and I call him the great sperminator too. I kind of joke about it. So you're under a lot of fertility. Are you just pregnant with children and real babies? Maybe not. Maybe a baby project, a baby idea wants to grow in you, especially with the axis flowing to your fifth house. Conversations that can be happening or discussions because of Mercury ongoing in committed obligations to property, home, land, and real estate. And maybe with Mars in the mix here, there could be some renegotiations of leases and lease agreements or new ones developing in a lucky way between May the 23rd and June the 16th. I also might mention, I'm going to do a whole star point video on this, but of all the signs, you are pregnant with possibility over the next 9.5 months from the June 4th star point. What are you going to give birth to? Is it a book? Is it a baby? Is it a new relationship? Because you are definitely pregnant here with some possibility, and the flow to the nodes of fate and the 5-11 axis. Even some of you are pregnant with the possibility of some kind of financial good fortune. So keep that in mind over the 9.5 months that follow this transit. All right, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. You have in this story Venus moving through her Gemini transit on the 23rd of May to June 16th, blessed by Jupiter in a way we haven't seen in 13 years. Also activating 12 years, also activated by a Venus star point. I mean, there's a lot of rarity here. I'll be covering that in my Venus star point video with Adam Ellenbus to find out when is the last time Venus star pointed in Gemini. Well, Jupiter was there as well. I mean, it's going to take a little research to figure that out. But the gist of this is very positive. And this is your 12th house. Now, that's really important because this is a house of spiritual liberation, and Jupiter is that planet of the spiritual wisdom. And so some of you may be having some spiritual up-leveling going on where you're seeing through the illusion of reality. You're Neo waking up from the matrix. You've got some kind of spiritual goodness here between the 23rd of May and June the 16th. However, if you're one of those Cancer risings, especially who makes money from far off lands, international companies, barter and trade, foreign, short, and borderless income, this is a glow up for you. Between the 23rd of May and June the 16th, money can come here easily and with great flow. If you are also wanting to have a kind of resolution to an addictive substance pattern habit, maybe here Venus can support that with Jupiter's bounty and Mercury's blessings as well. You might just be having a lot of creative, productive, fun, and enjoyment of your time off stage when you're doing things behind the scenes, right? Backroom deals and negotiations, but also your own kind of bed pleasures and quality time in your alone space feels really good for you between the 23rd of May and June the 16th. And you might have some conversations or connections to agreements with a younger sibling, Juno here, a neighbor or neighborhood person during this time. I would caution you, but I'm not going to Oh, and let me say one more thing. As Venus moves through your 12th house, she does have a flow cycle going to Pluto in your 8th house of banks, loans, and mortgages, and other people's money, and some flow to the South Node in the 4th house, making this a kind of window of time where May 23rd to June 16th, you may want to be negotiating agreements around rental contracts. Jupiter rules your house of rentals, or conversations about buying and selling of real estate, and things begin to ferment here for the potential letting go of a home. A lot of you Cancers will be looking at the possibility of surrendering or releasing a property through to as late as the end of 2024. Okay. A harder energy is coming through in the sky for you when there's that square to both Saturn on June 8th and Neptune on June 16th. I will do a separate video, but you may feel deeply let down or challenged by matters to do with courts and legal situations Ninth house matters, right? Things to do with father figures, things to do with academic environments, things to do with foreign travel opportunities. Something is very tense here regarding those themes for many of you Cancers, especially if you have a guide or a mentor type of person or father figure involved, and there's a lot of grit going on on June the 8th to the 16th. But I'll cover that in my week ahead video for that time frame in more depth. Leo, I need water. I'll be right back. All right, I'm not even going to stop the recording. I'm back. If some of you wonder why I don't stop my recording, because I have to exit the whole screen to stop the recording. Okay. Moving on to Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. May 23rd to June 16th, Venus is moving in a nice way through sociable 11th house matters. She's already a social butterfly and she loves her fun times in the sign of Gemini. But your 11th house of good spirit includes sociability with friendship networks, clubs of belonging, and tribes of your choice. So you could be very much on your social circuit at this time. But even so, there's Jupiter up here making things larger than life, more prosperity, abundance, fun, faith, hope, and optimism through a social agenda, through a social engagement type of thing. This can be going off to a big conference, some kind of event, to concerts, to big group things during this transit, but having lucky things come out of it. Luck will transpire from your social life. And even if you don't think of it that way, your gains from your career, specifically your salary, your earnings, your rewards, your promotions, can come off of the 11th, which feeds the 10th. And therefore, you are likely, second from the 10th in zodiacal order, it's like the money house from the career space, you're likely to see some perks in your finances from your work, or some raises, promotions, those sorts of things. I mean, if you're also into the social media set or micro celebrity world, this could give you a boost in your reputation as a micro celebrity or a diva energy. Mercury here is strengthening it all by being in his domicile for most of this transit. And that gives you that extra edge where your social life and your fun and your flirtiness could lead to love. Some of you under this transit can meet your person, and this is lovely for you. And if you do, it's got that soulmate vibe and the flow to the south node. You'll feel like siblings. It'll feel like friendship. It can be friends with benefits, but it could solidify with Jupiter up here into a long-term committed love story, because Jupiter flows to your house of commitment and witnesses your sizzling and owns your sizzling house of romance. You might be taken off guard if you're a single Leo and you meet somebody under this transit by how easy it is to find your mate in the circle of fun, friends, and activities, especially involving groups. So I encourage you to explore the possibility. Now, in this transit of Venus up here, there is a potential for some financial windfall. You can have a bit of that pennies from heaven action going on in the sky, and Jupiter expanding the possibility for a micro windfall. And your partner, if you're already married with a Pluto flow from the 7th house, is very supportive of you, or there's a good vibe of prosperity with business and love partnerships, May the 23rd to June the 16th. You could have some conversations that are more challenging around agreements and contracts around money with someone during this transit. But who knows? Because you also could have unexpected work opportunity thanks to Uranus and Juno in this relationship. There's tension coming up in the sky, June the 8th, with a square to Saturn and Nessus, and then on June 16th to Neptune. This is a financial spot in your sky to do with the money you may share with a spouse, with a business partner, or inheritance monies and insurance payouts and banks and mortgages and things like that. Investments in the markets. Watch out for that, please, because I'm expecting some significant market downturns as the economic growth, it's all the illusion, comes to be seen as the emperor is wearing no clothes. This is likely to be obvious to everybody in June and June into July. And so this could be a very difficult time of money loss if you have investments in the markets, for example. So be very cautious for your own portfolio, so to speak, anytime in early June, but particularly around a few days before and after June the 8th. Okay, just be careful. I'll be doing videos for all signs on that later in my week ahead videos. Okay, so Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. Well, Venus is transiting your 10th house as she does on the yearly, and this is about your career. This is about your reputation. This is about your success, ambition in the world, and how people see you. Now, this can be very, very lovely energy because you get a glow up. People see you in a positive light. You may be getting good feedback in your work environment and career space, and you really get that kind of qualitative, everything is wonderful in my successful career and reputation space. Now, I have a Virgo rising daughter who's a full-time student right now, and May the 27th at university, May the 23rd to June 16th, she's still a student. So if you're a student or you're retired, your 10th house is what you're doing visibly in the world. And she's getting a glow up as a student. You're retired, a glow up in your charity work, your golf games, your whatever you're doing, gardening. What are you doing in a retired life? I don't even know what retirement would look like for me. I'm asking every Virgo what they think retirement looks like because Virgos are always of service. But it's like retirement isn't me just sitting around suntanning by the pool and living a life of luxury. Even if I could, there's got to be meaning to life. So when you're retired and you're listening to this, please tell me in the comments, how are you at describing success and visible success in the world in a time in which work and career aren't on your agenda? And as for you students, it's about your student life. That's your full-time job, right? If it's a part-time student, if you call yourself a student, you're a student. If you're unemployed, it's what you want to do to become successful. So unemployed people, Venus in your 10th house, you can get a job. Why? Venus is flowing to Pluto in the house of work. You can get a very good job, a very powerful job, a very transformational job, a very luscious money job in this transit of May the 23rd to June the 16th. If I was a normal person, I'd be retiring at 65, right? That's 3 years from now. I can't even imagine what that would look like. I mean, because I would be bored, I think. All right, so back to you guys. So Virgos also, you've been going through a lot of hardship, as you know, as you've been having to deal with a Saturn transit through the house of marriage. If it's a marriage relationship, it means it's committed, long-term, enduring, maybe even cohabitational, whether it's legal or not, and also some challenges with business partnerships. Now, I don't want to make your life too worried because you do have such Venus flow here to the nodes of fate. This could be, again, job, money, glow up, and some increase in your chunky money in a positive way, spousal support, tax rebates, that stuff like that look good on you. But what does look challenging is some kind of critical crisis energy going on in a significant business or love partnership, which will come to head on June the 8th and around June 16th with the square to Nessus and to Saturn and to Neptune eventually. So that window of time looks like a little bit of a kathunk, and it can be that your partner's having the problem. Like I know a lot of Virgos whose partners have lost, my Virgo girlfriend, her partner's mom died, So something going on in their lives might be very challenging, and it kind of takes the wind out of some of Venus's sails at the top of the sky. Okay, so keep that in mind. I mean, you've got the whole should I stay, should I go, divorce or stay archetype with Juno going through here. Is either you want to level up to be legally married or you want to downscale to not being married or together at all. And that's a big question mark that's ongoing actually for you because some good things are happening in your reputation and career space. And whatever's going on in the relationship space is taking second fiddle. And again, those dates are May the 23rd to June the 16th. Hey, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. So basically, you're a Venus ruled being, as is the Taurus energy. And so you have to pay attention to this. This is a Venus star point. It's going to be very important on June the 3rd, 4th. We're going to address that in a separate video because there's so much depth to that. I'll be doing that with Adam Ellenbus. So like, subscribe, so you'll get that deep dive video coming out around May the 23rd. But I'm going to talk about this transit then along the lines of something to do with how is Venus in her once every year, now bolstered by rarity, once every 12-year transit of your Gemini ninth house with Jupiter co-present, going to inform a deeper connection to your own spiritual path? Because I can give you a lot of meanings of that ninth house. It's a third marriage environment house. Second marriage is second house. It's a environment of churches and religions and official religion. And it's also about higher education, and it's about foreign travel and pilgrimages to the temples of God. It's the house of God. It can be all of those things, but it's also how are you experiencing the energy of Dharma and what is the deeper meaning and purpose of your life? This is a Dharma house, all right? 1, 5, 9 Dharma houses. And this is a Dharma house on steroids when Jupiter is moving through it. He has a natural affinity for the ninth house, which is Sagittarius in the system of an Aries rising sky. And he also can be like that guru, preacher, religious figure, motivational, inspiring group, speaker or something. And when he's up here with Venus, this is going to be a story between the 23rd of May and June 16th, where you're looking for that deeper meaning of your life. And you may be wanting to align it with themes of international or themes of higher education or themes of third marriages or themes of legal and court matters. Certainly Jupiter Venus here can resolve a legal or court matter very, very auspiciously for you during this May 23rd to June 16th. Now, Mercury's here, co-present, attending over the whole thing, including the star point. And I'm going to give you a teaser. With the star point here, not only does your spiritual life take on great meaning over the course of the next year, but many of you will find yourself engaged in foreign shore travel for some reason. Maybe even for some of you, a relocation. Now, when this energy is playing out, and you may find that you get great benefits from father figures financially. This is a money luck house as well. And this is considered the father figure house in the ancient tradition. Venus rules your house of inheritance. So father figures and inheritance or bequeathment money can be true for some of you, Libra, rising, sun, and moon. And there's a bit of a flow to the nodes of fate, telling me that your relationship with a significant marriage or business partner can solidify, be strengthened, and be given some blessings during this transit. You may also find that you have that tension around June the 8th and 16th. That is going to be a whole other video when Venus squares Saturn and you've got some intense grit with your health or work situations. Most often this looks like work because Venus is up at the top of the sky. And there's a turning point, choice or grit moment, maybe even a feeling of betrayal around June the 8th and 16th regarding work and work matters. And I mean your work, your job, that kind of thing. We'll be covering that in the week ahead video during the time of that transit around June the 8th. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. And if you're in the live premiere listening to this, whether I'm with you or not, I might be on the El Camino at this time. I probably will be, but I'll see if I can catch the wave of this video before I leave. Please don't forget, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications and share the video. All of those things are such simple efforts, especially pushing that like button. Don't ever hit my like button if you don't like it, but if you're liking this content, please do so. Thank you. It's a small gesture with a big result. A shout out to one of my people, Kelly K. She came in my live giveaway premiere today in the chat. Bless you, Kelly K. And she tipped me $300. Okay. I can't even say that I don't know what to say except thank you. And that's something I've never seen before in all my years of YouTube land. So bless you, Kelly K. I gave away prizes, by the way, and I think you guys have probably missed it by the time you watch this video. I'm sorry. That was a big giveaway for prizes every Sunday during the month of May. I might have this out still in May. So if you want to subscribe to my newsletter, Cosmic Moonshine newsletter, please do so and see if you can win a prize before June starts. Okay, so now we're going to go to Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and rising sign. What I can tell you about this story, because you are watching it from here, this is you and this is here. It's not easy to see. We call that an aversion, but it is also a money house, and Venus is a money goddess. And often it's that kind of money that you share with other people, or that is an unearned source of money. That's not your direct paycheck. It could come because your spouse has some money, your spouse has some inheritances, you receive an inheritance from down here, or the money could be coming from a tax rebate or a stock investment paying off. Sometimes I see it as royalty income. You're sharing the money with the book publisher, or it could be money from passive income, ad income, like I get from YouTube, because I'm sharing the money with the advertisers on YouTube. So that kind of shared resource money is having a glow up, Scorpio, glowing up your reality, May 23rd to June the 16th. It's got Jupiter here. Now, classically, Scorpios, this is one of those inheritance transits. Jupiter will be here May 25th until June 9th of next year, and you may inherit some money from the family of origin stories during this transit. Because Venus is here now, you may receive news of that or understanding that you're going to be getting some kind of bequeathment money. Venus and Mercury could be the news of good fortune through family of origin monies, and you may learn about that May the 23rd to June the 16th, even if it's a trust fund. I don't know, someone doesn't always have to die, you know? Second of all, this is a house of secret and hidden romance. Venus is here. And some of you could engage in a secret or hidden romance. I don't suggest that unless there's a good reason for it, but this transit could lend itself to that on the regular. And also with Mercury here, maybe there's a lot of emails, textings, or phone calls with a secret love affair going on for some of you, May 23rd to June the 16th. Your partner's prosperity could increase. If you're with somebody, their prosperity can increase as a result of this. They may come into money. They may have a boot up, round up, good news in their money. Venus moving through here is flowing to the nodes of fate. This is positive, obviously, and the flow opens up some corridors of increase in your own health matters, but also in matters to do with your work. And you may have some positive increase in your work situations and your career situations as well. Also, the flow to the south node can indicate some opportunities for financial gain, again, through far off foreign shores, lands, international companies, or real estate transactions. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Mercury here in escrow, mortgages, and banks, Pluto here in property, land, and real estate. Some Scorpios may be getting an opportunity to buy or sell real estate under the May 23rd to June 16th transit, and things are going to go very well, or refinance real estate and things are going to go very well. Okay. I like it a lot. And with a north node of fate in the house of rentals, maybe also rent properties or rent out properties. Now, the gnarly part of the sky is June the 8th and 16th with a square to Saturn and then to Neptune, and Nessus for betrayal and revenges in the mix. Now, I don't know. This is a house of children, for example, and that can be some financial calamity and betrayals with regards to money and your children, or money and a sexual romantic partner, or some betrayals just around secret romances, because secret romances are here and love stories and romances, romantic love is here. And this looks like you're hitting a hard spot. If you are married already, it probably isn't that. I mean, this is romantic, sexual love, not long-term committed love. But I would say be careful here because, Venus rules the house of your partner, and you may discover some sexual secret about a partner that you're with already, that you're committed to, and it could rattle you a bit here, June the 8th and June the 16th. It could even be in the rearview mirror, for goodness sakes, but it could feel like a betrayal here with a child, with money and a child, with a romantic partner, even if it's a committed love. We're going to do that all signs video and cover that one in more depth because it's a pretty gnarly sky. So we'll talk about that as we approach the June 8th week ahead video. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. We have the transit of Venus, May the 23rd to June 16th through the house of your business partners, your audience marketplace, and significant marriage type partnerships. This is your 7th house. This can give you a glow up in your outreach to your audience and marketplace clients and customers if that's relevant to you. But it can also be that you could meet somebody if you're single under this transit. Lord Jupiter is going to try to take your existing relationships and upgrade them, moving in, committing, getting married, proposals for engagement. That's true. How long? Now until next June. May 25th of this year to June 9th next year. Now, Venus here is going to be adding the love luster to the story. And therefore, May 23rd to June 16th, you could meet somebody new. And if you do, it will be very positive. But you also could get great legal deals, contracts, and agreements going on here that benefit you greatly in any which way, including anything, actually. I mean, really, any kind of legal contract can benefit you under this transit. You do want to note that Venus is talking in a challenging way to Juno, but she still wants to make a deal. So some of you may also look at legal agreements regarding work and work situations or marriage proposals coming through on May 23rd to June the 16th. Now, also in this story, you might wonder, what is Jupiter doing here? He was here 13 years ago. This is a classic up level in your long-term relationship stories. And a lot of you, if you were to go back 12 years ago. So you're going to go back to 2012, 13, I think it was May to May. And you're going to notice that this is a repeating cycle. And with Venus here in a star point, this is resetting everything to do with relationships in your life in a very profound way. We'll do that, more of that in the Venus video that I'm about to put out with Adam Ellenbus, but this is a really big deal for those primary relationships. If you're in a book publishing world, things can go really well there too, because the sun rules the house of book publishing. This is the house of contracts, and you might get a dream agent negotiation contract deal in any kind of publications contract, May the 23rd to June 16th. There is a lot of tension. There's a lot of flow to the nodes of fate. So you're increasing your creativity, your romantic life, your fertility, you're flowing in relationship to your larger groups of friends and social groups, but you also will hit like June 8th and 16th, a couple of crunchy spots. And that could have to do with real estate and contractual agreements around property and land, with unexpected things emerging. And yet they're all ultimately positive, but you may be a little bit unprepared for them. And the sort of revenge betrayal, Nessus, just gives it an extra edge of difficulty, and Neptune adds delusion. We'll be doing a whole video on that, but there could be a kind of unexpected crisis regarding something to do with someone you live with or something going on in the home, property, land, and real estate part of your sky. I mean, Venus is, by the way, trining Pluto in your 3rd house, which makes this whole story very positive if you're somebody in the online social media writing space, okay? But this home story has this kind of gritty quality to it. And you'll know what I mean June 8th to the 16th, trust me. We'll do more details on another video. Hey, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. So in the sky here, you can see that Venus will travel May the 23rd to June 16th. She'll be gallivanting along through your 6th house, and your 6th house represents work. And therefore, work matters and career matters and workspace matters and colleagues, employees, these are going so very well. And I feel like you could take the situation and you could make a job opportunity happen. You could apply for a job. You could, oh, hang on a sec. I've got an important message coming through my phone. Give me a sec. Hey guys, I'm recording this on Mother's Day, May the 12th, and my kids already called me and got me presents, but now I'm going to have a Mother's Day dinner with a girlfriend, so that's why I had to take her a text message. All right, so Capricorn, I was finishing up with you here. So this is like work opportunities. Like you can use this, you can harness this. Certainly, you could apply for a job, ask for a raise. You might just get lots of fun, sociability, pleasure, and enjoyment with your colleagues, coworkers. It's just gonna be a really fun time for you in the work environment. It can give you a career glow up, but also a health glow up. Jupiter here could also bring you a new pet. I mean, he's Fam, right? The god of babies, but baby animals. So some of you Capricorns might want a new pet. Some of you Capricorns from this, though, could really just experience a better health outcomes as Venus works with Jupiter to bring you those things. And, also this is to do with debts. If you have any kind of debt, and normally I say Jupiter could blow it up, but you can actually pay down debt and eliminate debt with friendly Venus in the mix, especially because she's also offering you opportunities to do with home, property, land, and real estate as she flows to that north node. So a lot of you could secure an amazing rental contract May the 23rd to June the 16th. You could bring home an amazing pet. Better health matters and situations are emerging here for you. Honestly, some of you could, with Jupiter, get some business opportunities from far off foreign lands and far off foreign shores and people, especially with Rahu, the foreigner, and all of that in the sky together. You could feel when Venus is here, like you actually like the work you're doing, or you like the people you work with. And Jupiter hasn't been here since 2012, 13, and he's expanding you here. So you have these kind of golden opportunities in the work and career and workaday life, the daily work routines, especially with the flow to Pluto and Venus involved. That's a wealth energy. And so you could really land the best salary, get a new level of cash flow moving through your story, through the energy of career and workspace opportunities. You could even have some negotiations with Juno here with foreign entities or foreign people regarding work opportunities. With the square, however, coming up, that's a little bit hard. And I'm not sure what to make of it, but you could have some travel crises going on. We often travel shorter distances. I mean, it could be commuting in the third house. It could be domestic travel, but or a sibling. Siblings and travel betrayals or upsets are going on here June the 8th and June the 16th. And some things that you didn't necessarily expect, because Neptune can, be foggy illusions and misunderstandings about people's situations, etc. And, if it's like a situation involving Saturn, it could be like a hardship with an elder sibling, an elder neighbor, an older friend from your childhood, and there's some kind of moment that could look like it could be a crisis, or it could be a demand for action around June the 8th and June the 16th. Jupiter rules this part of the chart, and he's over here with Venus. So he's trying his best to manage damage control, but he's not in good shape in the sign of Gemini. So he has to default to what Mercury wants. And I think you need to have some serious emails, phone calls, or text messages with somebody that you may experience them as like a sibling or an actual sibling, that there's this bit of a gritty tension going on here. Now, it could just be a kind of a collapse of a travel plan for reasons that feel really challenging, because you really couldn't see what the lay of the land was. So some travel things could fall apart here, especially around June the 8th and the 16th. And problems with neighbors, of course. Your neighborhood and neighbors are here. Okay, so we continue on. I'm an Aquarius rising. Are you? This is for Aquarius sun, moon, and rising sign. This energy is Venus moving through your fifth house. She got here, or will get there, on the 23rd of May, leave on June 16th. We call this the house of her joy. In ancient astrology, she's in really good shape. And this really good shape version of herself is that she is in a place of extreme power. And I think it's interesting because she's in India, a fertility goddess, ovum, sperm, and babies, etc. And this is a conception in children house. So first of all, number one, if you're an Aquarius rising, especially, you could get pregnant. You could get pregnant between May 23rd and June 16th, or your child could get pregnant. And with the flow to the node of fate in the house of grandchildren, you could become a grandparent as a result of this. If it is your son and it's about career matters, it could very much be creative projects and entrepreneurial endeavors are blessed between the 23rd of May and June 16th. If it's a moon sign as Aquarius, you could be pregnant physically. Now, all of this is saying this is a good place for her to travel. And she does this every year. But what's making it so special in the house of her joy, flowing in an air trine to you, is that she's also connecting to Jupiter, who expands everything. He is the god of children, which makes this a fertility transit on steroids. But if you're not having babies from your children, or you're having a baby come into your life because you're pregnant. This is about birthing something new in the house of the muse, the house of creative projects, the house of entrepreneurial endeavors. You're going to want to conceive and birth something new here. And what it is will be understood by you between May the 23rd and June the 16th. It's a lot of fun, play, pleasure, joy, and enjoyment. You are in a state of high pleasurability. Leisure travel is a fifth house journey. I will be traveling to the El Camino with a bunch of women and obviously having a blast. Although I think it's a pilgrimage, and that's Venus flowing to the wisdom of the South Node in the house of pilgrimages. You cannot make astrology up. It is extraordinarily accurate. Now, if Venus is here, and you want to win money, and that means go to the casino, go to the bingo hall, play a lottery ticket. You normally can do it once a year when she travels through the house of good fortune, where speculation and gamesmanship winnings can happen through games of chance and gambling. But when you add Jupiter to the mix, he blows it out of proportion. It's not winning a $2 ticket or $100 in the casino. You go win a big jackpot here. I'm hoping I do. And if you're going to win, it could be between the 23rd of May and June 16th, or after the transit when Venus moves into the 6th house, because that would be the gains of the lottery house, meaning that in the next quite a while, okay, you could have the seeds of the win. Maybe you buy the ticket or you engage in the speculation May 23rd to June 16th, but the win can come between June 16th and 3 weeks later, where you take possession of the win. So let's see what happens. Anytime you go second house from a house, it's the gains of the house. So lottery win gains are experienced through the debt relief, by the way, and the karmic energies of the 6th house. Now, one last point about this part of the chart. Are you a single Aquarian? Because good luck staying single. Venus star points in the romance house. The sun rules the house of committed love. And singletons are going to get married or engaged or set up in the next 4 years for sure with the Venus star point, with Jupiter sort of midwiving it. If you're in an existing relationship, this can open up a deeper level of connection and fun and play, but also commitment, where maybe there's new talks of monogamy or moving in together, or settling into an engagement type of a prospect. Expect as well that you'll bump into some challenges, as we all do. And the challenges can involve, and by the way, she's flowing to the North Node in the house of travel. And I just explained I'm traveling on the El Camino. Travel, travel, travel. And expansion and growth in your relationships with siblings, neighbors, neighborhoods, and childhood friendships happen as a result of this transit. But now we move into the fact that you're going to hit the June 8th and 16th windows of time with a square to Saturn, followed by on the 16th, a square to Neptune. And there's going to be some like Princess and her pea, something uncomfortable in the mattress of your joy and fun and play and pleasure and luck. And that's coming through your resources house. Now, the second house resources can be very much like, it can be the savings you have. Maybe you depleted your savings. It can be a feeling of some kind of challenge in the second house regarding your addictions from things you put in your mouth. Maybe you partied way too hard and you have to hard stop, control, and contain some kind of overdose on pleasure. And you're feeling like you need to do that June 8th and then June 16th. But also this square energy from Venus to this energy, you might feel like something let you down, or something betrayed you, or regarding a possession that you have. And I hate to say it, I mean, seriously, with Neptune involved, so you could lose some possession. Someone could steal it from you, I mean, because Neptune is that kind of shady energy, hardship and possession challenges. I'm hoping someone doesn't steal my precious laptop while I'm on the El Camino. Oh gosh, it's got everything in it. Hopefully the iCloud's backed up. It's June the 8th and June the 16th, tensions there. And that's about that. Now let's move on to the Pisces narrative. Oh, and by the way, come on, you are Pluto. We are Pluto. Pluto powered, in our sun, Aquarian sun, powering up your career. Moon, home needs and body. And rising sign, all of you is powering up. And we don't mind this new energy when Venus moves into our 5th house, and we feel empowered. in our inspiration, enthusiasm, our muse, our creativity, our entrepreneurial business, our fun, our play, our pleasure. All right, and it benefits our children. You Aquarian risings will see your children with this returning Venus transit have a lot more success in their life over the next 20 years. But this can be one of the best years for both of your children, or either your children, or all of your children, especially your firstborn, okay? Where good things happen for them and to them. And this transit, May 23rd to June 16th, you'll have some evidence of that. Now, finally, and last but never least, is the Pisces narrative. So Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Energetically, it's critically important to understand that this is about your home, real estate, property, and what you're doing in your domestic private life with the people you live with or the things you do out of the public view. When Venus is here, it's pleasurable for you. I have pleasure in your home. You have pleasure in your home, pleasure with people in your home, women visiting you in your home, festivities and dinners and fun and parties in your home. And so between the 23rd of May and June 16th, this is true. But she also loves to decorate here. And you may be decorating, beautifying, painting, filling it up, making your home much more beautiful. And because Jupiter's here, it's even better. It's expanded in its potential for beauty. He was last here in 2012-13, and now Venus is with him. And this is that rare, lovely beautification and bounty in the home. Prosperity regarding home and possessions, earnings and money access. Are you trying to buy or sell real estate? The contractual goddess is here for agreements in that. And I look to you, like some of you may be able to buy or sell real estate or rent property. Right? This is a sun ruling your rental house. So buying and selling real estate, rental property stories are happening. You may not get as much money as you want with the South Node in the 8th house, but you can take possessions of money and possessions of financial gain through real estate matters during this window of time. And if Venus is down here in this transit, sometimes this can look like a lot of romantic energy in the home, a lot more loving up your partner loving you up, a lot more affection, a lot more, liking and loving each other at this time. Also, there is a sense of maybe being able to increase your enjoyment of your home by also expanding into a possession you want for your home. You've always wanted Ethan Allen sofa, a gas range for the kitchen, that kind of thing. So getting those things that bring authentic pleasure and enjoyment, and you want to market, buy, or sell Mercury. But it's big, guys. You didn't want a little stove. You wanted a 6-range stove. You didn't want a small stove. You wanted, 10-piece sectional. That energy is playing out here, May the 23rd to June 16th. And you're lucky and prosperous in and from your home. Now, the square to Saturn on June 8th and then to Neptune on June 16th brings a little tension in the sky. I'll cover that in more depth later on, but there could be tension to do with people from foreign shores, foreign lands, and far off places, or revenue that's the good news. You're generating a lot of revenue from far off shores and foreign places. Tension with yourself. You are Saturn, you are Neptune, you are Nessus. Now be careful. You might want to exact revenge on a 4th house person. Just don't do it. That could be somebody from your family of origin, okay? Your mom or dad, especially the sun down there. You might have a real blowout with a dad type figure where you are acting like the vengeful one. Be careful. Now, father figures don't always look like fathers. They can look like your partner if they're like a father figure to you. I mean, if you're a woman. So you could have a blowout energy around June 8th and 16th where you're kind of like, you're all over it, man. You are like, you got your vengeance is mine, or hell hath no fury like a woman's scorn. And I'm bringing up the female energy just because the sun is there. And, the tension is with a parental or father figure, spouse or not, Mercury rules your house of marriage, is sitting with the sun, and this Venus is squaring the marriage goddess in the marriage house. So I think some of you females in the Pisces realm, or very feminine, masculine people, could have a blowout with a marriage partner of significance, and you're the one who's got the anger, and you're the one who's got the revenge in your mind, or the anger, revenge, but you've got the intensity, not your partner. And this is June the 8th and June the 16th. All that time frame around there. Eek. Good news, it's not happening to you, it's happening from you, right? So, especially with the South Node in the 8th house, it could be some financial betrayals going on with a business or love partner, and you're really feeling it. intensely on June the 8th and the 16th. Okay. Woof. All right. I'll be doing a deeper dive video into that in my All Signs week ahead for that week around June the 8th. So look forward to that or not. And hit the like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing of my 20 to 30 videos. Everything is all signs in my world. And I also come into the premieres with you guys and I chat with you. I take your real estate questions, your astrology questions. Some of those premieres, I will be putting them out, but I won't be there in the first 2 weeks of June or so because I'll be on the El Camino and I'll be doing my spiritual pilgrimage to recover myself from the hard work I've been doing. Sorry, only you guys get to see me trying to fix my hair in a video, but this is what it looks like when you go 4 days without washing your hair at age 62. It's less greasy than it used to be, but it finally does get that vibe. Okay, guys, have a wonderful day. And I hope that this Venus in Gemini story is wonderful for all of you. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video.